All right, I'm gonna try lesson 13-2 with the lights on, see if that works a little bit better. Anyway, so today we're gonna be learning about the volume of the prism. So have a listen, and here we go, 13-.
You can determine the volume of a prism by finding out how many unit cubes it takes to fill it. Each layer contains 5 times 4, or 20 cubes. There are 3 layers of 20 cubes. So the volume of the prism is 3 times 20, or 60 cubic units. Notice that the area of the base of the prism is 20 square units, and that the height of the prism is 3 units. So the formula for the volume of a prism is the area of its base times its height, or V equals B times H.
All right, so that's the first formula you're learning. Again, you have to find the area of the base and multiply it by the height. So this is really length times width times height, which you guys have seen that formula before. But they're going to use the volume equals the big B times the H. The big B is the bottom because the base is going to change for these things, okay? So let's look at the next one, is the volume of the cube.
You can determine the volume of a cube by finding out how many unit cubes are needed to fill it. Each layer contains 3 times 3 cubes. There are 3 layers. So the volume of the cube is 3 times 3 times 3, or 27 cubic units. Notice that the volume of the cube is simply the edge length cubed. So the formula for the volume of the cube is V equals S cubed.
So basically you take one side and you cube it, and cube means multiplying that number, whatever that side is, 3 times. So 3 times 3 times 3. If it was a 4, it would be 4 times 4 times 4, and so on. Okay? All right, on to part 1. Here we have to figure out which one has a volume this time of 54 cubic feet. I call this cubic feet. You'll notice when you're using volume, it has a little number 3 to the unit, which is feet. So we're going to go and look at these solutions and see our answers. So the first one here, this particular rectangular prism, the formula that you would use is finding the area of the base first, which is the little b times the height, so 9 times 2, okay? And you multiply that together, and 9 times 2, and you get 18. And now you're going to use, you've just found the big B, and you're going to multiply it by its height, which is 3. So you're going to go 18 times 3, and you're going to get 54. Good. The next one, simple. Volume equals the side cubed. So the side is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. It does not equal 54. So the cube one does not work. The next one, finding the area of the base, is base times height. So 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay? And then we go 6 times 4.5, the height of that. So it's really length times width times height, isn't it? And we get 126 divided by 5. Remember, you have to change that 4 1/5 to 21 over 5. You get 126 over 5, which comes to 25 1/5. And the last one, over here, our base is 6 times 1. We get 6, and then we multiply it by 9. And so 6 times 9 gives you 54. And so that particular last one would be 54 cubic feet. All right, so that's how you solve them. It's the same way every time. All right. Now it's your turn. You get to find the volume of a cube with the edge length 3/4. So again, for a cube, the good news is it's S, which is the side, 3/4 cubed. And you got to be careful with this one because you have to go 3 times 3 times 3 on the top and 4 times 4 times 4 on the bottom to get your answer. And this is what the solution, teachers, you can pause this, let them do their work and try it out. And this is what it should look like, okay? So 3/4 times 3/4 times 3/4 works out to be 27 over 64 cubic feet. Okay, so for part 2, the example here, what is the volume of a right triangular prism? So we just have to remember the difference now is we have a triangle for the base, and so we have to remember the formula for the base is base times height divided by 2. All right, so if we look at this solution, we use the formula for base is base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 base times height. We use the numbers 12 times 5, which happens to be 60, and then times 1/2 or divided by 2 gives you 30. You now have the base, and then you got to multiply it by its height, 17. So 30 times 17 gives you 510. All right, and now it is your turn, so go ahead and look in your books and do the got it in there. And again, teachers, you can press pause now, give them a chance to solve this. Volume equals big B times H. The big B is the length times the width, or for this particular one, triangle, it's going to be the little b base times the height divided by 2 will give you the little b, and then you multiply it by the height of the whole thing. So go ahead and work on that now. And the solution to this, first of all, find the area of the base is, we have 4 times 3.5 divided by 2 gives us 7. And then we multiply that by 11.6 because we have big B times H, and we get 81.2. So that's the answer that you should come up with. Okay, so you guys can pause that and make sure that they have that written down properly. There's all the work right there from the beginning to the end. And you can write that down. Looks like she forgot the sugar. All right, Mrs. Venture's Japanese box has the shape of a regular hexagonal prism. To the nearest cubic inch, what is the amount of space inside the box? Again here, we have a different type of base. We have a hexagonal base. Remember, the hexagonal base has 6 triangles in it. So if you find one of the triangles, you can multiply it by 6 and you'll get your answer. So let's have a look and see, and then we obviously have the height later on for 4. Remember, we're looking for volume now. So finding the volume would be 6 times 1/2 base times height. So it's 3 for the base, little b, times the height, which is 2.6. You multiply that all out and you get 3.9, multiply it by 6 and you get 23.4. And then the last step is take that big B and multiply it by the height of the prism, and you get 23.4 times 4, which is 93.6, and that will give you the volume of the prism. So a little bit easier than surface area, finding volume. All right, so now it's your turn. To the nearest cubic centimeter, what is the volume of the regular hexagonal prism? So remembering your formula, you have a hexagonal prism, so you're gonna have to multiply it by 6, find one of the triangles, multiplying by 6, and then at the end, multiplying by height. Go ahead and do that, and once you've finished that, you can pause it now, and then I'll bring up the solution. And so the solution, finding the base first, is 6 times 1/2 base times height. We're going to use 6 times 5.2 divided by 2, and we're going to get 15.6. Multiply that by 6, you get 93.6. And then the next step is to multiply base times height, which is 10.9, and you get that number 1020.14. So you round to the nearest whole number, and it's 1020 meters cubed. Again, I'm going to give you the rest of the class to work on your packet, your review packet, do those questions, and work from there.